Welcome to the Life After Life podcast, where we explore our soul's physical and non-physical journey. I'm Majona. Let's discuss angels, guides, and loved ones from the other side. Hello, and welcome back. I'm so glad to see everybody. And I got to tell you, I have actually been kind of avoiding this topic for a while. And so today I put on my cowboy boots and I'm going to take it on. So how's that for a visual? All right, in a single word, the topic of the day is suicide. And man, there's nothing simple about this. And I get it's loaded with emotion and preconceived ideas and a whole plethora of stuff around this topic. So what I want to do is help us wade through this today from a soul journey perspective, because that's what we're really all about on this podcast, is the soul's journey. So let me say that if suicide has touched your life, I am so sorry. You have my complete empathy and compassion, and none of us can even comprehend where somebody is at that point. I had two very close people to me in my life choose to take their own lives, which is exactly why I'm taking this on today. And it is a heavy topic, so I certainly don't want to muddy it up even more by bringing in religion and black and white issues. This topic, like all of my topics, I'm going to share with you from my experiences, my perspectives on those experiences. So let's do a quick review. Before you come into this body, your soul decides what lessons you want to learn in this lifetime, and there are many experiences you can have to learn those lessons. Best case scenario, you live a long, healthy life. You are making your transition with completion. Completion with the people in your family and friend group, your soul group that you shared this life with, and completion with your own life. You have a sense of peace about all of this. And then you transition and you're greeted by your family and loved ones, and you continue your soul growth on the other side, and it's all perfectly beautiful. And obviously in the case of suicide, that doesn't happen. People that choose to take their own lives clearly are experiencing a level of anguish, isolation, and hopelessness that most of us probably cannot even begin to understand. So let's just agree that we're going to send them love and empathy. You chose to have these experiences before you came into this lifetime, and unfortunately, if you choose to leave this lifetime without having those, you still take that with you onto the other side, and you'll have them over there. You don't get to avoid the experiences. You just get to change the setting. What does that mean? When someone leaves this planet with that low-level energy, which anguish and so forth is, they will leave the earth plane and go to a dimension that matches that vibration. So it's going to be low level. It's going to be not a good place to go and to spend time. The good news is it's not for an eternity. They're not doomed for an eternity to hell and fire and brimstone and gnashing teeth and torture. Please let that one go. Yes, it's a lower level energy because that's where they were when they transitioned, and they have to grow through it, or they get to grow through it. It's part of their soul's choice. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. The people that I love that have crossed over because of suicide have been very reluctant to come forward. And that gave me a feeling for a very long period of time that they were not able to come forward. When one of them finally did, it was very, very brief. She was very apologetic, but at least I knew she was okay. More recent experiences have kind of added layers to this, which, this is the thing about the journey. There's so many layers, I think. There's so many pieces that we don't know and probably, and on Earth and the human thing can't possibly know and understand. So I will share with you some experiences that I've had talking with spirits, souls that have chosen to end their own lives and what's happening with them. So one of them was a young girl. She did not cross over. She did not follow the light and go to the other side because she had so much regret. And that's a big thing. As soon as they end their own lives, there is massive regret for doing it. There is still a life review session involved in this where you get to see the main points of your life, although it's different than it is if you've crossed over because it was time. But what everybody has is an understanding of how much the people that they left here love them. One thing I get all the time is once you're out of the earth density, they feel love on a very, very different vibrational frequency than we can possibly feel it. It's like it's amplified. I mean, how cool is that? Even those people that choose to end their lives feel that love of the people they left behind. And they also feel the mourning and the negativity that people are bringing on themselves, the guilt and the shame and so forth, that all the sense of responsibility. So they feel that, and there is an immediate deep sense of mourning and regret that they did this, that they took their own lives. So this particular person was choosing to stay very, very close to a very close family member that she left here because of that sense of guilt the remaining person here still had. She could feel all of this, and she didn't want to leave them. When we leave our bodies, our love for those that are still here does not change, and she still loved that person very much and didn't want them to feel badly. So she was hanging around. The piece that was very interesting to me about that was when she came through, and I did not know this was a suicide case because I don't ask questions. I just want to tell you what I'm getting. So I didn't know that. But she did come across differently. She was sad. There was a deep sadness that's not normally there when someone crosses over. You know, they're like thrilled to be on the other side because it's blissful. Not so in this case. And so I found that very perplexing. And she clung very close to this person that she left here out of a sense of responsibility and the pain that she felt from this other person. She had with her, though, somebody else in her soul pod that had transitioned long before she had, that was sort of like a mentor. And this is the piece that I had never experienced before. Remember that the universe is infinite love. That is the most important thing in the whole, no matter where you are, of the earth, of the universe. Love is the most important thing. When we're on the other side, as when we're on this side, that love is available to us. So when she crossed over, this other person in her soul pod was willing to sort of mentor her or coach her, but she had to be willing to accept it. And I think that is a big key. She still had to go to lower levels to deal with that energy and have those experiences, but she was aware that it was temporary and that there was love and someone there to help. I think that is huge. So that was a piece to the suicide that I had not experienced before. And that gave me a sense of peace as well, that we can see that. Okay, so on the opposite end of the spectrum, I did have another lady come through. As she was talking, it became very clear to me that her energy was very, very muddled. You know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not of any kind. I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist. But her personality certainly changed, and she went from this calm person showing me her death experience to help be crossed over, and then all of a sudden, there was a very different person there, as in her personality changed. I would say she was probably schizophrenic, certainly psychotic on some level, and what came in was that energy. It was deep fear. It was paranoia. It was all-consuming. And it absolutely just changed who she was. Well, when she started putting that energy out, it did not take long before a entity who was more than happy to feed on that energy and promote her to have more of that energy showed up. All right, so we've talked about all the love of the universe and all the loving beings that are out there. We've also touched on the law of opposites. So since there's incredible love, there has to be the opposite. Since there are light beings who want to help us and show us joy and love, there are beings that are the opposite of that promote fear and anger and all of the low-level emotions and feed off of that. And that's what she was attracting to her. So when I became aware of that, all I could do was offer her help. I offered to help her cross over into the light. And she kept kind of switching personalities from yes, help me, to no, get away from me, total paranoia. When it became clear, just like here on Earth, if you're trying to help someone and they refuse your help, there's nothing you can do about that. And when it became clear that she did not want my help, she was going to reject it, this was out of my hands, there's nothing more I could do, who do you think I called on? Of course, my angels! And I asked my angels to take her to someplace that she could get help. Take her to somebody or some being that can give her the help that she needs, because this is bigger than I am. I don't know what that is. That's not my forte. So take her someplace else, please. Which, of course, they did. They were happy to do that because they're also helping her. I don't know where they took her. But I do know that low-level entity that was with her had no interest in me or my environment whatsoever. It was completely attached to her because she kept summoning that. So that left right along there with her. Now, wherever the angels took her, ultimately it's still her free will and her decision if she wants to go through eternity like that or if she is willing to have help. All right, with that, there's a couple of points I want to make, trying to leave no stone unturned here. If you are trying to contact loved ones, angels, and guides, I don't want that to scare you. And the question is, well, is it safe? Because I've had a lot of people ask me, is it safe, or am I going to get into some hot mess when I'm on that level trying to connect with people on the other side and I can't see who I'm connecting with? We've talked about protecting yourself and so forth. I don't want to be Pollyanna, and I want to be realistic. Yes, it's out there, but if you don't go looking for it and you don't give it a reason to come to you, it's not going to. And as long as you are based in love, you're fine. You've got it. Your angels and the divine of the entire universe filled with love has completely got your back. So you go walking in a dark, scary neighborhood on this planet looking for trouble, you can find it. You go looking for trouble outside of our planet, you can find it. So don't do that. Just know that the angels and all that is love has your back. So I wasn't concerned about my safety or my family's safety. However, I did a clearing in my house because I don't want any residual negativity left. I know that love is going to overpower that, but I just don't want the negativity here. So a smudging and some prayers, quick fix. All right, let's sum this up. Let's do a quick summary. If you know somebody that is in that much anguish, yes, please try to help them. If you know somebody that's contemplating suicide, have a serious conversation with them. Suicide does not solve your problems. If you leave this earth on a low-level energy, you're going to pick right up where you left off to finish your lessons. They're not going to be pleasant. It is pain. It is struggle because you have to get the full 360 perspective and lessons on all of it. And we work through those. So the downside is you're going to have to finish that lesson. And you're probably going to leave this plane and go to a lower level plane to be able to finish that. And then you get to move on. Okay, so that's the good news. You get to move on. Just like on Earth, all things shall pass, right? All of those cliches that we hear. This gut-wrenching stuff is temporary. Everything is temporary. And you get to grow through it. And then when you're on the other side, you have a more clear perspective as well as you've gained the insights and the learning. Same thing, disincarnate. You are going to grow through it if you choose to. Your choice. But you get to grow through it because you have all of the support of the universe on your side again. And apparently, you can have people that love you so much in your soul pod, they're willing to help you find your footing. They can't go through it for you, but so they can serve as a mentor or a guide to help you. And then when you have those experiences, you move on up. You continue to grow and you continue to go up into the higher dimensions, and you'll probably come back to this planet and have more experiences. So there are no shortcuts. Unfortunately, we have to learn these. The best advice that I can give as far as shortcuts is turn and face it. Go through it. Embrace the lessons. Look at what is in this moment for me to learn. How can I benefit from this, and how can I become a better person? Well, that was a tough topic, and thank you for sticking with me. I would love to hear from you. If you have questions, comments, podcast ideas, they're always welcome. You can get us at Majona at lifeafterliferadio.com. So I look forward to hearing from you soon. That would be great. And until then, namaste.